Hello students, NS ma'am here. Today we are going to start the chapter Transportation in Animals and Plants. So let us start the chapter. Okay students, let us start the chapter Transportation in Animals and Plants. Transportation means traveling from one place to another. In animals, this job is done by the blood. Okay, now what are the components of the blood? If we see the components of the blood, we can find plasma, RBC means red blood cell, WBC white blood cell, and platelets. Now how we can get these four components from the blood? First we have to take, or if we want to examine the blood, then we have to take some amount of blood in a test tube and we have to perform the centrifugation. After centrifugation, we will see there are three layers in the test tube. The upper layer is from the plasma. It is a light yellow color layer, and at the bottom we will find a very dark red color layer that is for the RBCs or red blood cells, and between these two layers there is a transparent or white layer formed by WBCs and platelets. So we are going to see that these three layers are formed, and from this three layer we observe these four things. Now what is present in the plasma? Plasma is a liquid on which the blood cells are present. Okay, if we see the components or constituents of plasma, then we will find it is made up 90% of water. Then we will find ions, proteins, nutrients, waste, gases, etc. are also there. Now about RBC. RBC means red blood cell, or we can know the other name of the red blood cell is the erythrocyte. It is present in 5 to 6 million per ml of blood or millimeter cube of blood. Now what are RBCs? RBCs are the disc shaped like this disc shaped cells, and they don't have any nucleus in them. Rather they have a pigment named hemoglobin here that do a very specific job. What is the function of this hemoglobin? To carry the oxygen and carbon dioxide. That's why blood can transport oxygen and carbon dioxide throughout our body. So this is the RBC. Now going to the WBC or white blood cell. These cells are known for their defense against infectious diseases. Now, what is the other name of white blood cell? They are also known as leukocytes. They are present in 5,000 to 10,000 per ml of blood. How they look like? They are different in shape and different in types. Some of them have one nucleus, some of them have two nucleus. So on the basis of nucleus we can classify them, like the basophil, eosinophil, leukocytes, neutrophil, monocytes, etc. are the other types of white blood cell. Collectively we call them WBC. Now they have nucleus, as we learned that or as I said that the number may differ in different types of WBCs. Now okay, another important one, they can change their shape and move on their own. For this, they can squeeze out of the blood vessels. Now we are going to learn that there are mainly three types of blood vessels: arteries, veins, and capillaries. WBC is present in the blood. When needed, the WBC can penetrate through the wall of the capillaries, veins, or arteries. So because they are very flexible and they can squeeze themselves, so their shape can be varied. This is one important characteristic of RBC. If we see one RBC, picture of one RBC, let me draw. You will find like this one, very huge nucleus. It is known as monocyte. Some of them you will see like this, the nucleus are like this. Okay, so these are the different type of WBC. What is the function? As I previously said, that they are engaged in the defense system of our body. Whenever any pathogen invade our body, or any, you can say, bacteria or virus invade our body, they help them to kill, and from that we can survive. One of the very important WBC is a lymphocyte. You will hear it about in the higher classes, like the T cells, B cells, killer cells. There are some specified cells that are engaged in the immunity system of our body. Whenever any pathogen comes, or any other unknown particles come into our body, they act vigorously and they perform a very interesting job. So we will talk it about in the later or higher classes. Now going to the fourth component of blood, platelets. They are also known as thrombocytes. Number 250,000 to 4 lakh per ml of blood. They do not have any nucleus. They are smaller in size, very small, like this. Smaller than any other components of the blood. As the plasma is a liquid, okay, we can say that they are smaller than WBC and RBC. Now function are to assist with blood clotting at wound sites. When you cut your hand, or when we are injured, then our blood flows through that wound. If there are no platelets, then our blood will not going to be clotted. So because of this, the blood can be clotted. So main function, this function is done by the platelets or thrombocytes. Students, now we are going to discuss about the blood vessels. Blood vessels are those through which blood can travel. They are tube-like structures. They are of three types: arteries, veins, and capillaries. Arteries mainly carry oxygenated blood. Oxygenated blood means blood that is blood that carries oxygen. Okay, mainly the oxygen. Exception: pulmonary artery. Veins carry deoxygenated blood. Blood filled with carbon dioxide mainly. Exception: pulmonary vein. And capillaries. Capillaries are those blood vessels that connects these two other blood vessels. They can be found in the tissues and the organ levels. We are going to discuss their function later. Now first we are going to discuss about the arteries. Arteries have thick, elastic and muscular walls. Their lumen is narrow. Lumen means their inner space through which blood travels, that is narrow. Carry blood from the heart to all the parts of the body. Carry oxygenated blood except pulmonary artery. So arteries carry the oxygenated blood from the heart to all over the body. Veins. They have thin non-elastic walls. Their lumen is wide. Carry blood from all over the body to the heart. Carry deoxygenated blood except pulmonary veins. Now, why the arteries are thick, the walls of the arteries are thick and elastic? Because they carry huge amount of blood in a very high pressure. That's why their wall must be thick. Because when the pressure will be exerted to the walls, there will be a chance of breaking the vessel. That's why the vessels must be elastic to carry that pressure or to bear that pressure. Okay. On the other hand, veins are very much thin because they are carrying the blood from all over the body parts to the heart. So there is very low pressure. But very interestingly, veins have some valves. Valve means like this. They have valves. Restriction. That's why when the blood is traveling through the veins, they cannot go back. Okay, whenever they are going like this way, they cannot go back in the opposite direction. This is one characteristic of vein that is not present in arteries. Veins carry the deoxygenated blood, means they carry the blood that is carrying carbon dioxide, okay, from all over the body to the heart. Now we are going to discuss about the capillaries. Now previously I have said that capillaries can be found in the tissue level or organ level. They are the junction between the arteries and veins. So what is happening in the capillaries? First, about the structure. Capillaries are very tiny blood vessels, so small that a single red blood cell can barely fit through them. Okay, they are very thin, not like the other two blood vessels. They help to connect arteries and veins in addition to facilitating the exchange of certain elements between blood and tissue. You can find it in, as I said, you can find it in the tissue level. So what is happening through the capillaries? The blood is exchanging the nutrients material from the tissue to the blood, or from the blood to the tissue. Like the gaseous exchange is also happening. The arteries carrying the oxygenated blood supplied to the tissue through the capillaries, and when that is done, the carbon dioxide is then going to the veins through these capillaries, and other waste products like the waste material formed in the tissue or cell also go to the arteries, also go to the veins, sorry. That's why capillaries are called the junction between junction in which the exchanges are done. Now we are going to discuss the structure of the heart. As you can see, this is a diagram of human heart. Let us observe the different parts of this heart. These tube-like structures are known as vena cava. The upper one is known as superior vena cava, and the lower portion or the lower one is known as inferior vena cava. Then we are going to this. Okay, the heart has 4 chambers. The upper 2 chambers are known as atrium. The lower 2 chambers are known as ventricle. This one is the right atrium and right ventricle. This left atrium and left ventricle. Your right side will be the left side of the diagram, and your left side will be the right side of the diagram. Now this one is the pulmonary artery. These are the pulmonary veins. This is the aorta. These 2 ventricles are separated by a muscular part known as septum. These are also the pulmonary veins. Now we are going to discuss about the circulation of blood through heart. As you know, heart act as a pumping machine. It pumps the blood into our body. Now how this circulation goes? First, with the superior vena cava and inferior vena cava, blood comes into the right atrium from all over the body. Then from the atrium, the blood goes into the right ventricle. Then it passes to the pulmonary artery and goes to lungs for purification. Why I am saying purification? Because from here to here, the blood is the deoxygenated blood. Means carbon dioxide is present in this type of blood. So the right side of the heart carries the deoxygenated blood. Now going to this side, left. Now from the pulmonary veins here and here, from the both of the lungs, through the pulmonary veins, the oxygenated blood enters into the left atrium, and from there it goes to the left ventricle. Then it passes through the aorta and distributed to all over our body. So this side carries the oxygenated blood. Here you know that though it is the pulmonary artery, it is carrying the deoxygenated blood. This is the exception of artery. And though it is the these are the veins, they are carrying oxygenated blood. These are the exception of veins. Now here you can see leaf-like structures on the mouth of the veins and the arteries or the openings. Why? Because they are directing the blood into one way. Okay, as here you can see these are the valves. Here this valve is known as tricuspid valve. This is present in the junction of the right atrium and right ventricle. The blood when goes into the right ventricle, the blood cannot go back into the right atrium because of this tricuspid valves. Also for these valves are also known as the pulmonary valves because they are present on the pulmonary artery. When the blood enters into the pulmonary artery, because of these valves, they cannot return back into the right ventricle. Similar in the left side, these are the mitral valve present on the junction of the left atrium and left ventricle. So when the blood enters into the left ventricle, they cannot go back into the left atrium because of this mitral valve. Okay. Similar, when the blood goes into the aorta, in the mouth of the aorta you can see the aortic valve are present. They cannot allow the blood come back into the left ventricle. So this is how the circulation goes on. From the aorta, the oxygenated blood distributed throughout the body, and from this vena cava, superior vena cava and inferior vena cava, the deoxygenated blood from all over the body comes into the heart. This is the main function of the circulation process of the heart. Okay students, it was about the blood vessels, circulation in heart, the structure of heart, etc. In the next video clip, we are going to discuss other part of this chapter. Till then, goodbye and thank you.